This is Clifford Williams. He was sentenced to death and spent 43 years behind bars for crimes he did not commit in Jacksonville, Florida.
Just wanted to get out and be with my kids. They was gone and it wasn't nobody but them.
Williams was 34 and his 18-year-old nephew, Nathan Mears, were suspects in a murder and attempted murder. The survivor of the shooting claimed that she had been shot by the uncle and nephew, identifying them both by name. Despite having solid alibis, Williams and Mears were both arrested and charged within hours. No physical or DNA evidence pinned the two men to this crime, yet both men were found guilty. Williams was sentenced to death and Mears was given a life sentence. It wasn't until 43 years later, while they were in prison, there was a new investigation on the scene, proving that the ballistic reports from the crime lab did not match the original testimony, and it was the only evidence pinning the men to this crime. And now, this is the moment that Williams and Mears have been waiting for 43 years.
Indictments have been dismissed against you. You are free to go, and we are adjourned.
After they hear that they are free, they hug each other and their team. Williams and Mears both received $2 million in state compensation. This is Susan Mellen. She was sentenced to life in prison without parole based on untruthful testimony. She was 42 years old when she was arrested in Los Angeles, California at the McDonald's while taking her daughter to get a Happy Meal, but that was the last time she would see her child for 7 years, as she was charged for the murder of an ex-boyfriend.
Under arrest now for murder.
Mellen's conviction was based solely on an informant who claimed that Mellen had confessed the killing to her. She was in prison for a total of 17 years. Until then, informant was proven to be a pathological liar and unreliable witness, and now this is the moment that Mellen's case is finally overturned.
The judgment is vacated, the conviction is overturned, and as to Ms. Mellen, the case is dismissed.
From tears one moment to jumping in joy the next when released, Mellen took her daughter to McDonald's to deliver that long-awaited Happy Meal. The state of California awarded Mellen $597,200 in compensation, and reportedly the Los Angeles City Council agreed to pay $12 million to Susan Mellen. This is Daniel Villegas. He spent 18 years in prison for double homicide he never committed in El Paso, Texas. Daniel was arrested at 16, where an El Paso detective reportedly threatened him with beating and the death penalty if he did not confess. The teenage Daniel signed a confession that was prepared by the detective. He tried to withdraw his confession a few hours after, but by then it was too late. He was charged with 2 counts of capital murder, with the false confession being the only piece of evidence. The jury was unable to agree on a verdict. Daniel had a retrial, and the jury returned a guilty verdict, and he was given a life sentence after spending 18 years in prison. The verdict was thrown out, and Daniel remained out on bond, where he got married and started a family. But now we are in the third trial.
Please stand.
This is the moment that Daniel will find out if he will go home with his family or be sent back to prison to serve his life sentence.
State of Texas versus Daniel Villegas. Verdict Form B. We, the jury, find the defendant Daniel Villegas not guilty of...
Daniel is now a free man.
No longer under any conditions. You are free to leave. Thank you.
Reportedly, Daniel has filed a lawsuit against the city of El Paso. This is Eric Kelley, who was sentenced to life in prison for a robbery and murder he did not commit in Passaic County, New Jersey. Kelley was 28 when he was taken into custody after a man was killed working at a video store. Kelley suffered a tragic brain injury, making him suffer cognitive disability, and he had trouble processing information from detectives, and allegedly admitted to the crime, even though he did not done it. Despite no physical evidence, he was convicted and put in prison. It would not be until 24 years later the case was reopened, and major advancements in DNA testing proved that Kelley was not at the crime scene.
In light of the foregoing reasons, the motion for a new trial is hereby granted.
A new trial was granted, and Kelley is now outside of the prison for the first time after 24 years, still with the fear he might go back.
Legal team, I want to thank them. I want to thank my family. Just want to get back to actually living for once.
Surprisingly, the prosecution later dismissed all pending charges against him. Kelley reportedly awarded $1 million in state compensation.